listen, let's get into this. Welcome to part 2 of the Danish deception. It's a live watch party. We are getting into it. Listen, it's just about to hit the fan. So if you guys weren't with us for parts 1 through 3, she was in love with him. My opinion, I think that woman still wants him back, because don't get me wrong, there's no shame in having your heart broken. Everybody has had their heart broken. But I think the way that she was speaking about him so sweetly and so fondly and with so much love and admiration in her eyes glowing, I think if this boy came back, you would take him back regardless. Debts, gambling debts, whatever and all. Anyway, you guys, let's get into it. We are getting into episodes 3 to 10. Look what I promised. I'm looking at them now. Episode, that's ambitious, Tisa. Okay. We are looking at episodes 3 to 10 of the Danish deception. All right, y'all ready for this? Let's get into this. Listen. Yes. Oh, if you guys don't know, 50 Cent is making a docuseries about Diddy. It's coming out on December 2nd. Y'all make sure y'all watch it. You know I'm going to be watching it. I'm going to be watching it. Anyway, you guys, let's get into the Danish deception and let's see what's actually going on, because again, we're going through all 20. This is going to be our new book club. We listen on this channel. We listen and we judge. We listen and we judge. I grew up in a very, very judgy, family. So I don't look at judgy as the wrong thing. Like, somebody will laugh at you. They'll call you out. If you do something stupid, you did something stupid. It does not mean you are stupid. It doesn't mean that they don't love us. It doesn't mean, but just because your family is cracking up, choking on turkey because of your latest dumb adventure, it's nothing. It's just all love. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, let's get into, where were we? We were on episode 3. So we were on part 3, right? Okay, so where we last left our beleaguered heroine, she had, let me just set this up to you really quick, then we're going to get right into her stuff. Okay, so here's what happened. She met him in Hula Hula in Hvar. If you've ever been to Hvar in Croatia, the real fun is if there are speedboats you have to take to like Party Island. That's like a little island off of Hvar. And the only way to get there is on speedboats and come back. And it's fun. It's not like a Diddy party island. It's more like, yay, party under the moonlight Party Island, right? Hula Hula in Croatia. Don't get me wrong. There are some very, very expensive places in Croatia. Hula Hula in Hvar, Croatia is where you get like 2-for-1 mojitos. Again, I don't think you're getting old money. I don't even think you're getting new money, but you might they want your money. And I think that's what she got. So she met him in Hula Hula, which is just like a regular average place, right? But this guy told her he was a gold medal Olympia. He was part of Denmark, whatever. What are they, Danes? He was descended from royalty. He was like this whole mega billionaire. Mind you, every vacation they took, she actually paid for. When they were leaving, he was there with a friend. And when they were leaving, she was like, oh, can I get your let me get your Instagram. To which I was like, girl, what? But I get it. In my mind, I think she wanted to brag to let him know I'm famous, because I thought she was the Bachelorette, but apparently she was just a contestant on The Bachelor, which tracks, because only someone that would be on a reality show for weeks and convince themselves that they are the love of their lives and play themselves and compete with other women for a man's attention. Yeah, it tracks. It tracks. That I'm just doing a setup. Then we're going to get into it. It tracks. It 100% tracks to me that you would like fall in love in your head and just like, like hold on when like you should have let go. Also, let's also not forget that so they met. She asked him for the Instagram digits. Like, yo, can I get let me see your Instagram. I get it. She wanted to show off and show this guy that she was somebody. But why would you do that? You're not a man. You literally set this man up to use you. Like, men can lead with that. I don't think women need to lead with that, right? Because it's never a good idea if a man wants to use you for your social media clout. Even the fact that he, I think, was in real estate or investment, they can use your platform to whatever. Now, if that's your man, your boo, he been with you since day one, okay, fine. But somebody you don't know. So he was like, oh yeah. So he gave her his IG, and then she started following him. I don't like that. She started following him. And then, he had time to go through her feed and be like, ooh, I got another lick, right? She probably saw dollar signs. And that's when they started communicating over DMs in Instagram. He invited her to come to Monaco. Now, Monaco, yeah, you can find old money, new money, and a lot of they want your money. But he invited her to Monaco. She said, okay. He said, send me a picture of your passport. I know Europe is not like America, but how are you sending a picture of your government ID? The passport, mind you, not just a driver's license, but the final boss of ID, a passport. You don't give him your the passport. Mind you, they haven't even exchanged phone numbers. She don't know where this man lives. She don't even know this man's last name, as far as we know. So she sends him a picture of the passport. And then when she sends a picture and he's like, okay, we're going to Monaco. We're going to meet there. She was like, don't you at least want my phone number? And he was like, oh, yeah, I was going to ask you for that, but I was a little bit too scared. Yeah. What's your number? So she gave the number. Again, you are always trying to, and in my mind, I'm like, as soon as he didn't ask for that number, I'm like, oh, girl, no, he's married or he's in a relationship. And she said that after she gave him the number, it took him a little while to call her. And I was like, so that means you had to buy a burner phone because you didn't even want to be linked. You wanted to make sure if someone is making plans with you through a DM, they want to make sure that when they got to get rid of you, all they got to do is just block you. At this point, I'd have been like, you might have been a murderer. Forget about him having a girlfriend. What if you're a murderer? So he took the number and then they had a phone call, right? And then she was like, they had a phone call. We're about to get into the watch party. I'm just catching people up for episodes 1 through 3. Okay. So they had a phone call. And then, when they had the phone call, she said they talked and they talked and they talked, and it went from like 1 hour to 2 hours. She's just so in love spitting, right? And I've been that way. When I met my man, that was the first guy. Like, I literally was on the phone with him from sun up to sundown. People were sick of us. When I say that I was on the phone 24/7, and if anybody tried to get me off the phone, I'd be like, go away, my phone, like walking around, doing this, just on the phone, right? So yeah, you know how it is, right? But here's the interesting thing, which I would have been very insulted by. So after their first conversation, because I think they FaceTime once, you know what he said to her? You know what he said to her? He said, you know what? Let's not FaceTime anymore. Because like, I don't want to ruin the moment for when we see each other in Monaco. As if they were getting married. Like, again, maybe I'm reading too much into it. And you know me, y'all, if y'all watch my channel, y'all know I read into everything, right? But I was like, I would be so insulted that you see my shining eyes, my sparkly smile, my whatever. And you are not so transfixed that when I'm sitting here talking about the weather, all you hear is blah, blah, blah. And you're looking at me like, damn, she's so pretty. Wow, she's so pretty. What do you mean you do not? But to me, I would be like, oh, so you think I'm ugly. You see me cheesing in the phone. And you're just like, oh, God. You know what? Can we just cut this video call off? I don't think it's necessary for us to talk. So anyway, I would have been assaulted. Like, you don't want to see my face and you want to wait. Okay. So anyway, she said, so where she left, she said, so then she packed up and she flew to Monaco and she had a layover in Madrid, to which I was like, he could have flew you straight to, well, you can't really fly into Monaco. You fly into Nice because Monaco doesn't have a big airport. You fly into Nice and then you take a helicopter over to Monaco. And Nice, I hate that place. I like Nice, ugh. Especially if you've ever been in Europe. I do not understand the appeal of Nice. I really don't understand the appeal of Nice, France. And when I got there, I was like, compared to even other picturesque European cities, Nice is so mid to me. But I think that Nice is a lot like New York, because I know that like I was talking to Grace, she loves Nice, but I think Nice is one of those places like New York. It's not that much to see, but it's, if you get to know it and you know people, it has a thriving like life to it, like the way New York is, you know. But anyway, she got off the airport. I assume it was Nice, and she's walking, and I'm like, but how did you get from Nice to Monaco? Because if Mr. Daddy Warbucks was really balling the way he says he was, he should have literally, you should have gotten off that plane and got met with the private helicopter people, and they got you from the plane helped you collect your luggage like a little butler, and walked you in to the private security screening to go to the private helicopter pads to get in the helicopter to fly to Nice. Because when you fly Nice private helicopter, it's like 13 or 14 minutes, but if you drive, it's like 3.5 hours, and that's if there's no traffic. And who's taking the bus? You see what I'm saying? That's just not happening. But even private chauffeur, it's just no quick way to Monaco except for the helicopter. So let's see what happens. So that's where we last left our beleaguered heroine. And now, with no further ado, let's get into part 4 of the Danish deception. Okay, so let me make sure. Hold on.
The Danish deception, part 3. Okay,
Wait,
so
hold
I'm
on.
walking out of baggage claim. I have
Okay.
my bags. And at this point, worst case scenarios are playing in my head. I'm like, what if this whole thing is just gonna be so awkward and we're not gonna have that connection? Like,
what if he's going to kill you, girl? And I will say this is the last thing I say. I think, and I've said it before, and y'all have to listen, when a woman is stressed out or when she's losing touch with reality, her makeup becomes more and more weird. Not bad, because everybody has like a weird. This girl obviously is a very warm complexion. I believe she is warm at the very most. You can maybe say she is neutral, leaning warm. And the fact that she has cool toned eyebrows on a very warm complexion lets me know that she doesn't see reality quite right. Do you see what I'm saying? That color, it clashes with your skin complexion. You should have a warm black, an ebony, a very warm black, not a cool toned. But anyway, let's keep going. Let's go, Miss Mamas. And I'm sure when he saw her, he was looking at her eyebrows too, like they clash with your undertone, your skin undertone. Okay, but go on.
I think we have, but I also told myself, you're gonna have to figure it out and let's just do this. So I walk out of baggage claim and I'm scanning the scene and I see him and everything in me feels peace and joy. And I just make a beeline to him. Like, it's one of those, like, I'm walking, but like low-key I'm running. And I finally get to him. He hugs me, but like he picks me off the ground and he's hugging me and I'm hugging him back. And then he puts me down. He looks at me, he goes, "Hi, Bambi." And that was a nickname he used to call me. And I was like, "Hi."
Bambi. Our nicknames have to, okay, maybe it's the way she acts. Also, on TikTok, a man said that he saw her tucking her braids behind her ears, and that told him everything he needed to know about her. And I think about that comment a lot at night. I think about that comment a lot. Let's keep going.
And we just proceed to make out in the Nice airport for 2 straight minutes. And
so they were in the Nice airport and they were making out in the Nice airport for 2 straight minutes with a man that told her, I don't think it's a good idea that I look at your face when I talk to you on video anymore. Can we just save it? Let's go.
I'm a person to ever do that, but I just felt so much attraction towards him and I just did not care. And I remember that we were in the taxi going to the hotel and we had to put ourselves at like an arm's length because we were just like going at it, like kissing. And I was like, this taxi driver is going to start feeling super uncomfortable. So we're
already, you're broke. How are you flying me out to Monaco? And we are not even in a private driver. Say like you're like, no, he's Danish. What's a Danish accent? Dankeschön. What's a Danish accent? No, hello, my little Bambi. Is that a Danish accent? I don't know. Hello, my little Bambi. I have a private driver. And then maybe he wanted you to drive for 3 hours to show you the French countryside, which is beautiful. That drive along the coast from Nice to um, 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 Monaco, gorgeous. You can stop in, what is it, Ezra, whatever, Eze. It's gorgeous. So you a taxi in this economy, and you're supposed to be rich, royalty, and a gold medalist, girl. No, I would have literally. First of all, I wouldn't even have been on that plane. But let's keep going.
Like we need to stop. And so we get to the hotel, we check in, we get to the hotel room, and let's just say we had a wonderful time multiple times. Mom and Dad, I am so sorry for that part.
Okay, she's a grown woman. She can do whatever she wants to do. But he didn't even give you your own hotel. Okay, girl. For a man that didn't even want to look at you on FaceTime. Again, I'm not blaming her. This is, we listen and we judge. We're just looking at the warning signs. That's all. That's all. And here's the thing. I've been stupid in the past. And when I'm being stupid, I know I'm being stupid. And you can tell me, girl, you're being stupid. I'll be like, I know I'm doing this for the plot. I'm doing this for the plot. She is being stupid unironically, but let's keep going.
We end up going to dinner afterwards, and I just remember sitting here and I was like, I feel like this is my dream come true being here with you. And he said, I feel like this is my dream come true. Like, I'm so grateful to be here. Like, you're like my dream girl, and you were even better than I remembered if that was even possible. And it just felt like everything was aligning perfectly. And so the next day we had a car rental. So we went to Monaco, and that's where his work event was. And I remember he told
cheap bastard.
me, I don't know if I'm going to be able to bring you.
You know why he didn't take her to Monaco? Because it sounds like they went in the summertime, and the cheapest room in Monaco for like a cheap room in the summertime is somewhere around, I don't know, I want to say $400 to $600 a night, and those get sold out like that. And there's not that many of them, but most in the summertime are $600, $800, $1,000, $1,200. If you stay at the really good places, the smallest room is starting like $2,600 and up. Again, Monaco's very, very small. There's not that many hotels at all. Like Monaco, you can walk from the front to the back of Monaco in 3 hours and you've seen the whole place. Monaco is gorgeous, but so that cheap bastard.
Go to all of the events. And I told him, you know what? I'm going to be in Monaco. So if you can't take me to things, that's fine. I'll just go explore the city. And I remember we get there and he had like a kickoff event, like first things first when we arrived. And so I wasn't invited. I also didn't really want to go. So he went to that, and I was just like exploring Monaco. And he sends me a message. He said, hey, you're going to be able to come to the event tonight. Do you have something to wear? And I remember being like, I didn't bring anything like for like a professional cocktail party. He was like, oh, well, we're in Monaco. So you wear whatever. And I said, okay. So I remember I put on this green romper and we went to this hotel. And I remember being super nervous because I'm used to like networking, but not with like Norwegians and like a bunch of people that aren't like fluent in English, which actually people in Norway, they all are fluent in English. I was very impressed. But I just started talking to different agents because these were all real estate agents. And I'm a realtor. So I felt like I could connect with them so well. I remember I was talking to this man, me and my ex were talking to this man, and he was like so interested by me. And he said, are you coming to the boat party tomorrow? And I knew there was a boat party coming up the next day, but I also just like assumed I wouldn't be able to go. And I said, well, I looked at my ex, I go, I don't know, like, am I? And my ex looks at me, he goes, well, you're talking to the CEO, so I think that's fine. I said, oh, the CEO is like, yeah.
Pause. I don't like this either. Again, we're looking at red flags. I don't like the fact that he told her, you're not coming. First of all, you invited me on a work trip. Okay, fine. And you told me I wasn't invited to any of the work trips. Okay, fine. And you didn't tell me to pack anything appropriate because there was a maybe. And you didn't offer to buy me any. This is your job. And you have me in a room full of people where I feel uncomfortable. But the thing is, she doesn't realize he was using her as a token. Women's beauty is social currency to men. It is. It is. It always has been, right? When you see a man with a really gorgeous woman, you literally look again like, who is that? What's going on? Right? It's social, but with other men, it's social currency. And the fact that she was happy to be used as social currency, fine, right? It's your life. You can do what you want. You can take it as flattery. But the fact that she didn't see what time he was on, you see what I'm saying? She didn't see what time he was on. Well, you're talking to the CEO. Am I? Well, you're talking to the CEO. It's like, yeah, you wanted to pull. Anyway, I don't want to get into like deep, deep, deep layers upon layers upon layers, but red flag.
Love for you to come. And he was just so nice. And I met so many great people. And also just watching him in his
sad part is, girl, you should have tried to talk to the CEO. Everybody probably was on the boat like, what is she doing with that bum ninja? Right? And yes, white men can be ninjas too. She was there probably like, what is she doing with that bum ninja? Did she know that man owe us all money? Girl, you should have been at the CEO. Pleasure to meet you. My name's Bambi. Anyway,
element working, and he's just so charming and charismatic, and everyone, when people talk to him, they're just so fascinated by him, like I was. And so we had a great night, and then the next day was a boat party, and I remember I was just hanging out on the boat again, just watching him go talk to all these big customers, and I didn't understand a word he was saying, but I just felt like he just looked like he was super smart. And later on,
let me just tell y'all something. Monaco is a beautiful place, but Monaco is also a beautiful place. Girl, you should be happy he wasn't trying to sell you for a box of like what do they eat in Denmark? Pickled herring and tulips. You should have been happy he wasn't trading you.
That night, I remember they had another event, and I wasn't invited to that event, which is fine, but I came and met up with him afterwards, and we got drinks. And
this is what I mean about the way why weren't you invited to the event? Did you not ask? If I've already met the CEO and the CEO invited me on a boat and everybody loved me and I'm cool in the gang and I see, why am I not invited to the other event? It's Monaco. First of all, there's no convention center there. Why am I not invited? Oh, I know why. Because your second girl, or maybe you were going out prowling, looking for a rich heiress in Monaco. Ain't nobody slow. Anyway, but she doesn't ask questions. Why can't I come? What are you guys doing? What event was it? Oh, you see what I'm saying?
The next day, we decided to head to Saint-Tropez. And I remember we get to the hotel in Saint-Tropez. This hotel is so nice. I've stayed in 5-star hotels before, but like I've never stayed in like 5-star hotels that are like a full suite with like private pool. And I like looked up the room and it was like 1,500 to like 2,000 euros a night. And I'm like absolutely not used to this. And I remember telling him that.
She don't got any girls to care about her. First of all, this is already, I'm watching this real time with you guys. This is already when I'm starting to look at her like, girl, you knew what was going on. Because you took the time, you didn't bother to check whether he was really royalty. You didn't bother to check whether he was won a gold medal. He told her he won gold medal at the Olympics. You didn't bother to check any of that mess, but you went to a hotel room in Saint-Tropez and looked up the price of the hotel room and then told him, oh my God, this is too much. I've never had anything this nice. Golly gee. Country, but like, why would you tell a man that? One, that you even looked up the price, and two, I've never had anything this nice. Again, she doesn't know this man. And again, this is a deep cut. For the girls that know, they know. You cannot trust everybody with your heart. Case in point, right? So until you know for a fact you can trust somebody and be vulnerable with them, why would you give them any information that they can use against you to take advantage, to like, it's just nah.
I'm not the type of person to like walk into something like this and be like, oh yeah, like I'm used to this stuff.
Dummy. And that's why you lost see, the jokes write themselves. And that's why you lost $300,000. Because I'm not that type of girl. The fact that you got scammed out of $300,000 because you were not playing stupid, you actually were being stupid, and now you want to sit here on some I don't want to say pick me mess because I haven't heard enough to say whether she's a pick me, but on some, I'm not like one of those girls that do that, bitch. I am, and that's why I never 300. No.
I'm not gonna be fake. So I told him, like, I'm not used to staying in hotels like this, or like, especially specifically suites like this.
Girl, it was a suite. First of all, let's be real. Do y'all want to be real? Let's be real. They were in Saint Tropez. Now, while you can find moderately priced hotels at $200 a night, they are probably the Roach Motel, or there's a dead body in the basement. I don't know, or even under your bed. But most hotels in Saint Tropez during the high season, paying $1,500 to $2,000 a night, that's light work. So the fact that you, God, you know what?
And he was like, well, while we're together, I want you to know, like, I want to give you the world. And I was like, thank you so much. Like, I feel so grateful. And I remember telling him that in that moment. And later on that night, we go to L'Opera and we're having a wonderful time, drinking great wine, having good food. And if you've been to L'Opera in Saint Tropez, it's very much a party restaurant. Like, you have dancers on the tables.
Every restaurant in Saint Tropez is party. Come on. Come on.
Also, like, kind of like vibe, but I'm like, have a couple of drinks in me. And we're sitting at dinner and he's talking to me about his mom and talking about.
I told him that no one's ever done this for me. All right, little Raggedy Ann, go sit down. Maybe I'll give you a box of crackers since nobody ever did anything. But also, this is beginning to sound not like a con, because at this point he could have just been trying to wine and dine her. Guys do it all the time, right? But to thank a man, thank you on the first date, nobody's ever done this for me. When you fall in love with him, when he deserves it, when he earns your trust, and when he trusts you, that's the time you can circle back and be like, babe, I love you so much. Like, you are amazing. You've done so. I'm not saying you never give a man his flowers, because if a man, I give my man his flowers every single day and night. Okay, let me stop. Right? But I give my man his flowers all the time. But the point of the matter is, I don't worry about him doing this, or he may not worry about being found in an unmarked grave if he ever tried this. But all jokes aside, to tell a man that you don't know, that you don't even know his last name, that you don't even know if you have his real phone number, all these things as a glimpse inside your soul, that doesn't make you more vulnerable when you expose everything. It makes you more open to somebody to use that to manipulate. It's not about, I'm not going to be fake. It's not being fake. Guard your damn heart. Like, God, jab, duck. Duck and move. But then also, you guys were having a conversation in a party club. Okay, so while she's telling the story of him talking about his mom, people are on tables. I got a feeling, that tonight's they love this song overseas. That tonight's gonna be a good night. That tonight's gonna be sorry. Hold on, I just messed up my microphone. Hold on. Anyway. Fill up the cup. Mazel tov. Look at her moving. Just take it. Okay, let me stop. But my whole point of the matter is, all this foolishness is going on while she's telling her story. Let's keep going.
How he's so protective over her and how much he loves her and how he would do anything for her. And I remember just looking at him and just being like, this is everything I want in a man. If a man is going to treat his family with respect, the chances of him treating your family with respect are so much higher. And I just felt like I saw his heart, and it just made me just fall for him even more than I had already. And I guess my thoughts had.
Okay. Also, Really quick, commercial break. Trishawn Wilson, what's up, Sid? My favorite. Oh, thank you, Trishawn. My favorite on YouTube. I don't know if your man knows how blessed he is to have you in this life. I tell him every day and twice on Sunday. I hope your day is going good and much love to. Oh, thank you so much, Trishawn. My day is going fantastic now that I'm with you guys. Also, YM Jory, what's up? YM Jory said, I'll give her the grace on the royal thing only. We know they had hairy and shoes with holes, and lesser royals are famously broke. Okay, maybe YM Joy, but submit it for your viewing pleasure. Google is her friend. You ain't got to wonder if somebody is part of a royal family. You can literally Google their lineage. Like the one thing the royals love doing everywhere is stunting on people, you know? But that said, again, and maybe this is like the bachelor brain. On our first date, you listen and you take note and you follow it away. But you're falling in love just off of words without even seeing if he has a relationship with his mama, if his mama's still alive, what his relationship is with them. You know what I'm saying? Anyway.
Translated to my face because he picked up on some expression and he was like, what is it? I was like, nothing. He said, tell me. I go, nothing. And then he grabs my face and he pulls it close to him. He goes, tell me. And I say, I'm in love with you. And then I started bawling my eyes out at La Opera in San Tropez. And this was a sweet moment, but it was also very uncomfortable and embarrassing because all the workers are all thinking that I'm getting dumped right now when I'm really just falling in love for the first time.
They were foreshadowing the future.
Don't know how to control my emotions. And I remember just like bawling my eyes out and being like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what this feeling is. Like, I don't know what's happening. Like, and he's just sitting there smiling. And he's like, this is like one of the best nights of my life. And he looked at me, he goes, I want to say it back to you, but I also want to have my own special moment. So I'm not going to do it right now. And I said, thank you, God, because I would not want you to tell me right now. And honestly, never in a million years did I think that I would say I love you first to him, but he pulled it out of me and I felt it. So I said, you know what? I'm going to say it. And I did. And it felt so good. And
okay, so she was reliving the bachelor. Tell me, if you get your hands the F off my face, tell me, what the hell is this? No. Don't know where your hands been. I don't even know if you wash your hands after the bathroom. Let me see your nails. No. Second of all, right? She literally said, I love you, and started bawling. And all the waiters were like, oh my God, this poor girl's getting dumped. Girl, you were the 8th girl in there that day. Anyway, they probably foreshadowed the future, but you're bawling and telling, this is literally your second date. At this point, you guys have been together for not even 3 business days. Not even 3 business days. So I think she was just, there's something a little off with this. Not the fact that she felt this strongly, because like we've all had love at first sight. I think when I met my boyfriend, I felt like it was love at first sight, but I didn't tell him that shit. Are you insane? No, sit there. No. Like he probably thought I was going to try to con him if I told him on a 3rd date, I love you. And then I would have been so humiliated and just awkward, where if it's like, I love you and I don't know what to do about this, it's coming on so strong. And he's like, thank you for telling me that. I don't want to say I love you because I want my own special moment.
I remember we went back to the hotel that night, got some sleep, and the next morning we went to Bagatelle and we had just like a beach day. And I used to tell everyone that this was the best day of my life because we spent the whole day just swimming and laughing and eating and having such a great time. And I just thought to myself, like, I could do this forever. And like, I also thought to myself, like, I don't care if we're on a couch in Dallas, Texas. Like, I just want to be around him all the time. And so that night we go to dinner and I remember just asking him, what are the things that you think are important as we like enter into this relationship? And he told me, if you give me respect and loyalty, I will give you the world. And I told him I can do that. And then I told him,
fair enough.
There's a few things you should know. Number 1, your money is great, but it's the cherry on top of a great sundae. You could lose it all tomorrow and I would not go anywhere. Like the money is just like this little added benefit. But I love you for you. I'm here for who you are as a person, not the money. Also, cheating is 100% a deal breaker for me. I just feel like I always need to like put that out there. I don't care if you've been married for 15 years with 4 kids. I will leave. I will not put up with cheating.
Okay, pause. If I was a man, if I was a guy, would I treat you like a boy? Okay, if I was a guy, you, first of all, why are you talking about my money? That's his money. The fact that you need to say it's nice, but if you lost it tomorrow, I'd still be here. I'd be like, why are you making this confession? You ain't gonna be here. It is the money. You know that old saying, anytime somebody says it's not about the money, it's always about the money. And anytime somebody tells you, no, it's about the money. I just want my money. It's never about the money. You know what I'm saying? But also, it's a weird hierarchy that you put him losing his fortune as the first thing. I don't care, I'd be there. And then you put cheating as the second. Most women would lead with the cheating part. That's even if, I mean, it's crazy to be having this conversation on the third date, but you feel me? That's suspicious.
And also, my family is my world. I'm a warrior for my family and friends. And please don't ever put me in a position where I have to choose, because like I love my family so much, and that would be a situation that would cause me so much pain, and I just would never want to be in that position. He said, I understand completely, and I love that about you. So we set those ground rules, and the next day we go to Cannes. And I remember that first day in Cannes, we're having a great time. We went to the beach for a little bit, and then we decided we're gonna go shopping. And he tells me, you can pick out whatever you want to buy, you can get it. So we're going to like Cartier, we're going to Chanel, we go to Dior. I see this yellow bag I fall in love with, but I felt so uncomfortable because I don't want this man to think that I'm with him for his money. And I didn't want him to feel like I was using him. So I remember just being like, oh, it's okay. Like, I love this purse, but I was like, it's just okay. And we end up going to Dolce & Gabbana, and I pick out this nice pair of $200 sunglasses. And he looks at me, he goes, dang, you're cheap. And I said, I'm a simple girl, even though I wanted a Dior bag. But
that's what you get. Because had you been honest, see, that's the thing when you run scams on people, when you're dating, you must be as close to your real self within reason as you can when you first start to date someone. Because if you put on a fake personality, what are you doing? It's like literally convincing someone to buy a Benz and then being like, surprise, I was a Jaguar all along. Yeah, that's nice. But I want the Benz. That's what I was putting on. You wanted the Dior bag. He was offering you a gift. Why did you not think you were good enough to receive a gift? If he wanted to, you already gave him the cookies. Y'all going at it like rabbits. You already said it. Why didn't you just accept the gift? He thought you were beautiful. He wanted to show you a token of his affection. Why didn't you take the Dior bag? Why did you make him go to Dolce & Gabbana, which is like the cheapest designer stuff, and go there and then pick the cheapest thing you could find, which was $200 sunglasses? I didn't even know Dolce & Gabbana made $200 sunglasses. Like usually they're around $300. So you picked the cheapest pair of sunglasses, even though you wanted the bag, and you want a cookie for that. And you're sitting here stupid. You could have been robbed the $300,000 and had a Dior bag. Instead, you robbed a $300,000 and you got like some stupid Dolce & Gabbana sunglasses that probably aren't even in style anymore. It's very odd to me. Oh, also, I want to give a shout out to Hummingbird. Hummingbird said, Tisa, love you. Can you please talk about the president of France putting a hit on Candace Owens? What? Hold on. I will make a video about this. What? I just made a note. Yes, Hummingbird. Yes, I will do that. Oh my gosh. Okay, let's get back into the whatchamacallit. Sorry. Where are we at?
I wanted him to know that I was there for the right reasons. Oh my gosh, bachelor trauma is still kicking in. And so later that night, we decided to go to dinner, and we're eating dinner, and I go to the bathroom, and I have myself a fall going to the bathroom, going up the stairs, and everything went black. And I will continue on the series in part 4.
Okay.
The Danish Deception, part 4. Okay.
Pause. Did he roofie her? Was he passing her around? Did he roofie her? Why did you black out going upstairs? Hold on.
Just to recap, we went to Monaco, then we went to Saint Tropez, and we ended the trip in Cannes. And the very last night we had together, we were at dinner, and I'm walking to go to the bathroom, and I fall, and everything goes black. And let me tell you, I am a clumsy person. I know I'm a clumsy person. I'm always tripping over myself. And that day specifically, I had been tripping over my dress pretty frequently throughout the day. But I've never had like a serious accident before like this. And it was completely out of the blue. I was walking up the stairs, and I remember walking up the stairs, and the stairs in France are extremely narrow. If you've been, then you definitely would probably agree with me. And so I basically came to after falling, hitting my head, and I see these three men above me, and they're wearing like these bright turquoise polos. And I remember that they were the waiters. That was what they were wearing. And I remember just like coming awake and being like, what the fuck is happening? But no one was speaking any English. They're all like screaming in French, freaking out. And so I pass out again, then I come to again. And finally I'm able to say, someone go get my boyfriend. And then I pass out again. Then I come to again. And then my ex is sitting next to me. And I see him and I'm like, what is going on? He's like, I don't know what happened. I think you fell. And I'm like, I don't remember anything. I don't know what happened. And he looked at me, he goes, do you have a history with epilepsy? I'm like, epilepsy? No, I don't have any history with that. I was like, why? He said, because you've been having seizures for the past 10 minutes. And I was like, seizures? I have never, ever had a seizure in my life.
He drugged
so this
her.
was shocking news, but I also wasn't like all the way there. So I was just so confused at what was happening. And I remember touching my head, and I looked at my hand, and there was so much blood. And then I like started looking around, and everything felt wet. And I was like, oh my gosh, I was going to the bathroom. So I look at him and I ask him, I'm like, is this pee? He was like, no, they just like dumped water on you. And I was like, okay. And so they basically told us that because the streets in Cannes are so narrow, they couldn't bring an ambulance. It had to be a fire truck, which I didn't care. I just wanted to get to the hospital. So these firemen come and they get me up, and I stand up, I look down, look at the puddle of water. Then I smell my dress. I go, oh my gosh, this is urine. So you're telling me that I've been dating this man for 3 days, and he is now sitting in a pool of my urine and my blood, watching me have seizures. I was just I couldn't believe that this was the reality of what was happening. I get into the truck, and
I'm sorry, that was a lot. We have to unpack. I'm very scared for her at this point. We're watching this real time, okay? Because I wasn't watching all this on my own. We were gonna have a watch party. This is very scary to me. I think he put something in her drink. First of all, where's your mind? You just blacked out. How long were you there? They were doing this. You were having where was he? He didn't think, where's she at? And I know, and people are screaming. You have blood on your head. You fell downstairs. I know the stairs are not that narrow, not where you were in St. Tropez. Honey, you can do this for the masses. I've been there. The stairs weren't that narrow. And not even that, you blacked out. And then you were having seizures for 10 minutes. Remember in the Diddy trial when he first gave Jane some stuff and she started having a seizure on the thing, and KK and them had to dump stuff on her head, water on her in the shower to put, and instead of looking at him and being like, did he roofie me? Because this is clearly a bad reaction to something. She's like, he's sitting there in my urine and my blood. Girl, you're embarrassed. He should be literally like the bodyguard, scooping his Bambi up in his arms and running through the streets of Monaco, carrying you to the MF ambulance. This guy is like 7 feet tall. And it looks like, why is he not running his ass off to get you? Oh my God. I'm scared for her. Okay, let's go.
Take us to the hospital. And I'm still freaking out at this point because I literally don't know if I have like a severe brain bleed or what's going on. And they take us into the waiting room, and they're about to take us back. And I remember the nurse said that my ex couldn't go back with me because they still had super strict restrictions from COVID. So he had to wait in the waiting room. And I remember just freaking out because no one is speaking English at this point. And I don't know what to do. I'm so terrified. I feel so alone. And I remember just looking at him and he could just see the fear in my eyes. And I'm like, I don't know what to do. He's like, just stay calm. I was like, okay. And he ends up leaning into me before they tell him that it's time to go. And he tells me, before you go, I just wanted to tell you that I love you. And
bitch, he was afraid you were going to tell the police.
Here, of all places, he was like, yeah, I wanted to tell you. And I said, I mean, I was so grateful to hear it from him, but also I was like, are you only telling me this because you think I'm about to die? And so a lot of things were going through my head. And
no, he thinks you're about to call the police, that they're going to test your blood and see that somebody roofied you, and you're going to realize he was the only one that was handing you drinks. Oh my, I'm scared for her. Because again, why were you roofing her? Were you planning on putting her in your CEO's bed? Were there some businessmen that wanted to take a ride, go to Chocolate City? I'm being dead serious. When I said Monaco's a beautiful place, it is. But Monaco, baby, everything with a lot of money and extreme wealth has a very, very dark side. And I don't know. I'm getting a bad feeling about this.
Going back,
bad,
getting a
bad.
CT scan, they ended up saying, hey, everything's good. You just have a severe concussion. Hence why I had seizures. And they're like, you're going to have to get 4 stitches in your eyebrow. You guys can kind of see the scar. I'm wearing makeup, so you can't really tell. So after I get my stitches, I go back out to the waiting room and I see my ex, and I automatically just feel this sense of protection and safety because he made me feel so calm, and I was just so grateful to him. And if you watched the Who the Fuck Did I Marry series, I truly believe that this whole experience was the equivalent to Risa Tisa's tire blowout before she met her ex-husband. And God was telling me to run far away from this man. My bad on misinterpreting this message. And I just thought that this was God's way of telling me that this man's going to keep me safe. And clearly that wasn't the case. But we leave the hospital and we go back to the hotel.
I feel bad for calling her a pick-me. She has deep self-esteem issues. She has deep issues for being seen and recognized and loved. She has really, really deep issues. This is actually really, really sad. Now her little Sharpie off-color eyebrows make more sense. You just want somebody to see you and love you. I feel so sorry for her.
And obviously I couldn't sleep because I had a severe concussion. So we just stayed up talking all night. And the next day I went to go get all my prescriptions, and then we went to the airport, and it was a really, really tough goodbye because I was just so sad to say goodbye to him. And he had already booked a flight to come visit me in Dallas in 10 days. He booked it before I even went to Monaco because he told me he was so sure of me and of us. And so I knew I was going to see him in a little bit over a week, but it just wasn't enough. And I just wanted to be with him 24/7. But I said my goodbyes to him, and I was like, you know what? It's going to be okay. I'm going to see him soon. Hopped on the plane and went back to Dallas. And it was really difficult to come home for multiple reasons. The biggest reason was that I had to tell my parents that not only did I have this crazy accident, but I also am in love with this man that lives in Denmark. And that's just not a easy conversation to have with a Nigerian parent.
Coco Mochi, thank you so much for the super chat.
And if you know Nigerian parents, or if you have Nigerian parents, you can already assume how this unfolded. Obviously, they support me and they love me and they're wonderful parents, but they were also scared and like, what are you telling me right now? But I dropped the ball, and over time, like, they were so supportive of me and my decisions. I will say the bigger challenge was healing from the head injury because I was just doing crazy ass shit. Like, I remember I got into the shower with my socks on, and then I ran out the door with my bonnet on, chasing Smokey through the streets because I thought he ran away, even though he was inside the house, and To this day, I still think I have lingering effects because I'll add all these filler words and like what I want to say in my head, I think it, but I can't figure out the words sometimes. And it's very frustrating at times. And you will notice it throughout the series. And it's not something I used to do, but overall, I'm fine. My brain's fine. So obviously
she has lasting brain damage.
Talking on the phone every single day because, we're in a relationship, and he calls me and he says, "Hey, I'm considering offering on this apartment complex in Copenhagen." And we had talked about his real estate investments back in the south of France. He had told me that he owned 3 apartments in Copenhagen, 2 of which were rented out, one of which he was occupying as his personal residence. And this apartment complex he was interested in had 34 units. And then there was a top floor that was unfinished, and it could be converted to 10 penthouses. And he said it's fully rented out. It would be such a great investment. The cash flow is great. The only thing is that it's going to take up a lot of my cash liquidity and also like stocks and crypto and everything.
Here we go.
Obviously, I'm going to be traveling to the States, and I want to be mindful of like finances. That's why I want to bring it up to you. So what do you think? And I said, well, at this point, we had been dating for like a couple weeks. So I didn't feel like I was in a place where I could insert my opinion. So I told him, like, whatever you think, I'll support you. And I also didn't know jack shit about real estate investments in Copenhagen. And also, I had just gone to the south of France with him. That whole entire trip, I had spent 15 euros the entire trip. I tried to pay for stuff. He would not take a dime from me. So at this point, I almost in searching for a way to prove to him that I'm not with him for his money. So I told him, I go, if I need to, take on some more of the financial responsibilities in this relationship, I'm more than happy to do so because this is a partnership and you're there for me when I need you. And I'm going to be there for you when you need me. And he said, I appreciate you saying that, but I don't think it's going to come to that. But thank you for saying that. I said, of course.
All right.
So he offers on it, and his offer wins apparently by 1,000 euros. And he decides he's going to move forward with this property maybe a couple days before he came to visit me in Dallas. And I was fully supportive of him buying this property 100% because he's a successful businessman. And if he thinks this is a smart move, then I trust him. And also the money was a whole separate other thing. I didn't care. All I cared about was being with him. So he's coming to Dallas and I'm getting excited, not just because he's coming to see me, but this is the trip where he's going to start to meet my people and it's getting real. And so I remember he was flying into Dallas. It's the middle of September. And I made this sign. It said, "Welcome to Dallas, my Danish man." And I'm waiting outside baggage claim, waiting for him to get through customs. And I'm holding this sign super high, waiting for him to come through. And I will continue the rest in part 5.
Okay, so welcome to Dallas, my Danish man. She clearly was infatuated with the fact that he was Danish. Some people say, oh, she just wanted a white man. I think she always wanted to date a Danish man and she was like, whatever. I do not understand. And I'm just going to put this with her head injury. I do not understand how you pledge to be the financial cornerstone of a relationship for a man that you only knew for 2 weeks. And let's not forget the biggest takeaway. He wanted you to fund the trips, but the real investment, which is what might have even got, if this was any real, gotten you a percentage back, would be for him to ask you to invest in the apartment building. First of all, it's no all right. But if we are playing La La Land, why didn't you ask me to invest in the business? Because then I would have gotten the money back with interest. The money that I invest in this relationship, what am I going to do? Take you to court? You see what I'm saying? Oh, none of this is, and why are you pledging this? Why are you pledging this after 2 weeks of knowing a man? I just want to know. Trishawn said, at this point, I'm not even here for whatever this girl's talking about. I'm just here to watch Tisa's facial expressions and reactions to it. You guys, this is a Danish deception. It is a viral TikTok story about a woman who got conned, her and her family, out of $300,000. And she decided to tell the story of how she met the man and what made her let this man con her. And this is where we are.
Deception part 5. Okay, so he comes out of the baggage claim past customs, and I see him, and immediately I'm hit with the realization that I've got it so bad. And if you've never been in love before, falling in love for the first time is like getting swallowed by a current, and you don't even know it's there, and you're good one moment, and then before you realize it, you're in deep, and there's nothing you can do to control it. And that's how I felt. And I knew, okay, this man has the power to destroy me. And that was exhilarating, but also terrifying at the same time. And I was just really excited to integrate him with my people. And most importantly, I was excited for him to meet Smokey, who is just my world. And watching the way he was with Smokey, they instantly became best friends, and Smokey grew really attached to him. And I mean, I knew I had fallen in love with him, but I realized I hadn't even scratched the surface when I saw him with Smokey. And so we did a lot of things that trip. So we went to a Cowboys game. We went to a retirement party for a partner at my accounting firm. We went to a couple dinners. And then we also just stayed at home. I cooked a lot. I remember I made him red stew and rice, which is my favorite Nigerian food. It's a staple. And I put a lot of habanero peppers. And I remember being nervous, like, can he handle spice? And he ate it and he loved it. And I was like, oh my gosh, this white boy loves spice. This is perfect. And everything just felt like, again, it felt like everything was aligning. And so I wanted to plan something special for him to meet all of my close friends and family. And so I was like, oh, well, maybe we can go meet for a drink. And he said, you know, like, we can go out to eat. I'll pay for everything. I was like, are you sure? He said, absolutely. So I planned a brunch, and we went to brunch here in Dallas, and it was a handful of my really close friends, and my 2 sisters were there, and my cousin and his now wife was there too. So we sit down at brunch, and everyone.
How old is this woman? Hold on, y'all. How old is this woman? Because maybe that's it. She's giving, like, I don't know, 19, 20, 22, like, first guy you really, really like, you know? How old is that Onika girl? She was on The Bachelor, and she is now the star of the Danish Deception. How old is this girl? Oh, wait. Onika. Hold on. Onika. I don't know. They're not giving her age. I hope she's 21, 22.
It's like asking him questions, and everyone is just so impressed by him. Again, we're dealing with someone that's very charming, very charismatic. And the thing about my ex is when you meet him, he's so good at asking questions, and he's good at listening. And so it's really easy to get into good conversation with him, and it's really easy to connect with him. And so we had a great brunch. I remember I was like in the bathroom, and my friends followed me, and they're like, oh my gosh, he's amazing. Like, we're so happy for you. And I just, I was so grateful to call him mine. And so after brunch, we go grab a drink at a place nearby the restaurant. And at that point, we're all just kind of like chit-chatting, and my cousin and my ex are having a conversation. And this cousin is like a second brother to me. We're very, very close. And I desperately wanted to get the stamp of approval from him. And so obviously they're shooting their shit, and I'm eavesdropping on the conversation 100%. And because I can. And I'm like overhearing them just like, talking about random stuff. And then I hear my cousin ask him, you just have the build of an athlete. Did you play sports? And my ex goes, yeah, I actually played handball. And my cousin goes, isn't that an Olympic sport? And my ex goes, yeah, I actually went to the Olympics twice. And I immediately inserted myself into the conversation. I go, you went to the Olympics? What? And he goes, you know what? I was like the backup of the backup. I didn't even play. I don't like to brag about it because I don't think it's that big of a deal. I was like, well, did you get medals? He was like, yeah, I got a bronze and I got a gold. I was like, well, that's amazing. Like, I'm so impressed. And so now I'm thinking, this man is so humble. So let's add humble to the list of all the reasons why he's such an amazing man. So obviously we had a wonderful trip. He came to Dallas again. I did not spend any money while he was here. I obviously paid money for groceries when he wasn't around. But other than that, he wanted to pay for everything. He didn't even want me to pay for ice cream, small things. He was like, I want to treat you. And I was like, okay, that's fine. So I remember he was leaving to go back to Denmark, and I was so depressed. And if anyone has been in a long distance relationship, you know how difficult it is to say goodbye. And so I was so depressed, and I'm saying goodbye to him at the airport. I'm bawling my eyes out. We finally say goodbye. He goes through security. I go home, and I just am crying for like hours. I'm so depressed. And I remember I was supposed to go to a birthday party that night, and I texted my friend and was like, I literally cannot stop crying, so I can't go to this birthday. And I hate canceling things. And so that's how bad it was. I was actually depressed for literally days. And after he
Pause. I have to say this. She keeps talking about how loving her parents were and what a great relationship with her parents she had and all this other stuff. But I can't help but feel there's more to the story. What happened growing up? Where is this deep sense of not even oneself, but feeling unworthy, that you need this man to love you so that the sun can shine on you? Thank you, you guys, so much. Who said that she was like cream brulee? Said she's 31 years old, born in 1994. Thank you, Yasmin. Wait, JBS Smithereen. Thank you. What is this? JBS minor HBZIZ 328. Thank you. The whole point of the matter is there is a deep gaping hole where she grew up feeling unloved, unseen, unworthy. And clearly, for whatever reason, this man, listen, genetics are a hell of a thing. Clearly, she saw this man and she lost her mind over him. That was her ideal, right? Played into a fantasy she's probably had since she was a kid. But this is what I mean about the story she tells herself. You do not have this big gaping hole of love when you see your dad loving, nurturing, listening, upholding, supporting your mom. It isn't, because it's not the fact that you don't know what bad behavior looks like, but you know what good behavior looks like. Do you see what I'm saying? Not like, oh my God, thank you, I'm so grateful. If anything, she's giving me the archetype of your mom was always fussing at your dad, and you somehow thought that the reason why your dad acted up is because your mom was always yelling at him. So you decided, I'm going to be grateful. I'm going to be humble. I'm not going to look, all the reasons your dad said that he treated your mom bad because she's this, and you're like, oh, I'm not going to do that because you were a kid and you didn't realize he's just talking trash. Your mom could be the perfect person. Doesn't matter. He's still going to treat you. See what I'm saying? It's giving me that type of tea.
Got through security. He was like, I can't even walk to the terminal. Like, I'm so depressed. Like, I just want to walk back out and just come back to you. And I was like, I want that too. And he said, you know, we need to start having the hard conversations on like what we want for the future. And I said, absolutely. And so he was like, you know,
oh, thank you, Jasmine. Thank you.
We need to decide whether or not we're going to live in Denmark or live in Dallas. And I still can't believe this came out of my mouth. But I told him, I said, listen, I know you already have like a very much established career. And so if you want me to move to Denmark, I'm more than happy to have that conversation with you and like discuss it. And he said, you know, looking at you with your friends and your family this past week has made me realize
hell no.
I don't want to take that away from you.
I got a condo in Denmark.
You're
I
really
can't
close
do this.
With your parents, they're driving distance away. And like, I live in Copenhagen. My family lives in my hometown in Aalborg, which is hours away. I don't have family in Copenhagen, and I want us to be around family, especially like if we're talking about having kids one day. Like, I want that support, and I want you to be around the people that you love. And so I was so happy because realistically, I did not want to move to Denmark. And so I was so happy that this man is willing to give up everything to be with me. So I was so excited about that. So he was gone.
This is the third time she offered shit she didn't mean. Never at my dad always told me, never ask a question you don't want the answer to. Never offer anything you are not willing to give like that. She's playing games with her own self.
On it for about 3 weeks to a month at this point, and he hadn't booked his flight back to Dallas yet. And then he booked it on like a Thursday. I remember it. So now we're in the middle of October.
Jasmine said her decisions aren't mine, but they're concerning. Kingsley said she must have thought he could have had any woman in the world, but he chose me, I guess. Nick said she wants to be sold a dream just like all the other girls walking the street. Why you gotta, are you a man? Because that sounded very disrespectful to women in general. Women do not want to be sold a dream. She doesn't even want to.
2022. He books his flight and he said, okay, I'm coming next week, Wednesday. And I said, okay, perfect. And I'm getting all excited again. And so I called him Friday morning and
oh, sorry guys. So this is a good one. Not the one or the two said she's giving sheltered and neglected, constantly bargaining for love and attention, but accepting of whatever is given to her. Yeah, you hit it on the head. You hit it on the head. Cece said she's still in her Saturn return, but still has a lot to learn. Late Pancake said, put your love life out there, Tisa. What you want to know? I'm loved. Well fed. I'm beautiful. I'm happy. And I'm on the slide. What else you want me to know? But if could I do a 25 series? I've set series on my YouTube life if y'all want. Why the F did I start YouTube? The English said, yeah, she's begging. Poor thing. Nickel Salon said, I'm a woman. Nickel, okay, maybe I misread your comment then because it sounded very, I don't know. But maybe I read it wrong. Cream Brulee said, isn't she past that now in her early 30s? I guess not. Hey, what's up, Miss Foodies? I guess not. But again, going back to sheltered and neglected. Listen.
Keep in mind that there's a time difference. So it's like about 7 hours. So whenever I wake up at like 5 or 6, he's basically halfway through his day. And so I called him that Friday and I said, hey, like, how's your day been? He's like, it's been such a stressful, intense day. I go, what happened? And he's like, I found out that the apartment complex that I bought is dealing with some major foundation issues. Like it could affect safety of the tenants. And I'm really stressing out and I need to get it fixed. And I was like, oh, okay. Like, did you schedule the repair? He's like, not yet. It's going to cost like a hefty chunk of change. I was like, how much is it going to cost? He's like, $50,000. I was like, $50,000. What? Like, that's obviously a lot of money. I'm sure it's a lot of money to a lot of you. It's a lot of money to me. And so I was like, okay, like, what's the plan? He's like, I mean, I have a good portion of it. So I just need to ask my dad for a little bit of a loan. And so I remember being like, I can never in a million years ask my dad for a loan of $50,000. So at this point, I was aware of the fact that like they had this royal title, they had this family trust that like, and like the family had money. I didn't really know like how much or the details behind it. But he told me he was going to call his dad and ask him for a loan. So a couple hours go by.
This is like a horror movie.
And he's really upset. He's like, I talked to my dad on the phone. He will not loan me the money. He says, I've been acting super irresponsible, traveling, doing all these things. And so he just doesn't want to, he thinks I need to like learn from my actions. And if I'm not prepared for something like this, then there's nothing he can do to help me. And so I felt really bad for him because he essentially felt like his dad was abandoning him. And I felt really bad for him. And so I said, what's the plan? He's like, I'll figure it out. Like, even if I have to like sell some things, like I'll figure it out.
Okay.
And I was
cool.
like, okay, well, keep me updated, like whatever you need. And
good girl.
A couple days go by and he's communicating that.
Oh, really quick, I want to say thank you to Dolores Camara. Dolores, thank you so much for the super chat. This is like a horror movie.
He's still stressed out about coming up with this money. And so I said, you know what? Like, I can loan you the money. And so at this point, I had paid off my student loans, paid off my car, bought a house. Like had a decent savings. I was in a really, really good financial position. And so I wanted to help him, especially because like this man has like treated me so well and done so much for me. And I truly felt like
you know, the saddest part about this is, I don't know why she put this up. Maybe one, she wanted the money because, you know, bills are due and he scammed her out of 300,000. But two, does she realize that she is putting a dummy sticker across her head for other predators? Predators, men or women, they know how to smell a lick. They can come in and they can smell it. And the fact that she literally put dummy, like neglected, want to be chosen, like you are literally making yourself bait for narcissists. This whole series, you are making yourself prey for a narcissist, man or woman.
Or in a partnership, especially like when you're talking about the future with someone. And so I told him, like, let me loan it to you. He goes, I would never in a million years borrow money for you. And I was like, it's okay. Like, I don't mind helping. He's like, that's like not even a discussion I want to have. And I said, okay, that's fine. So a couple of days go by and he's still stressing out about coming up with this money. I asked him, like, how much do you need? He's like, it's 10,000 I need. And I was like, again, like, let me loan it to you. He said, no, I'm not taking money from you. And then a couple of days go by and he says, okay, like, now I need 6K. And I was like, okay, again, let me give it to you. He's like, no, I still don't.
He was a master con artist. Even the way he went from 50, now he needs 10, now he needs 6. When you know the art of a con, when you are first getting money from a lick, I would imagine, right? And this is, I see it works in relationships, but it does a lot in business cons, pyramid schemes. What's going on? Oh, I don't know what happened. The thing stopped. Anyway, in business, are you guys still there? Okay, sorry. It just went out. But in business cons and all this stuff and pyramid schemes, they get you to give a little. And then when you get a little, you get this big payout. And then next time you get more money and more money and more money. And that's what he's doing with her. And the fact that from the gate, she was like, no, I'll give you all $50,000. $50,000 for a man at this point you haven't even known 14 business days? Wow.
Take money from you. And then basically, like, the day, like 2 days before he's supposed to come to Dallas, he tells me, he says, just letting you know, I'm not be able to come to Dallas because I need to figure out this issue. And I'm, at this point, I start freaking out because I'm like, no, like, I 100% like want you to come still. Just let me loan you the money so that you'll be fine and we can, you know.
Had her begging. And that is an old school lick thing. No, I would, but I just don't have money. And she was like, just give, like, she was so desperate to have this man by her side that she was paying. And also, I'll say another thing, right? If a man tells you he doesn't want your help financially, believe him. Men and women are different. Not one's better, but they're different. A lot of men, if you help them when they're at their lowest, when they tell you they don't want help, they will grow to resent you because you challenge their ego. Even if he wasn't a con artist, if a man is telling you, don't loan me money, I don't want money from you, believe him. Believe him. But it's even worse that he was running game on her. Oh, God.
Be happy and be together. And so after some thinking, he was like, okay, fine, I will borrow the money from you, but you have to promise me that this will be the only time and that you're 100% comfortable with giving me this money. And I said, absolutely, I'm 100% comfortable. And we will continue on in part 6.
All right, hold on. Let me put because I have to go and post other videos because
Danish deception.
Apparently the Danish deception hour is not a fan favorite, but I just want to see what happens. And now I'm hooked in this episode. I'm hooked.
Danish deception part.
I'm hooked. I'm gonna stay on a little bit longer. I do have to go make other videos, but I'm gonna stay on a little longer because I gotta mock Diddy. Did you hear about Cardi B and Stefan and Jeffree Star? Also Todd and Candy. And now we gotta talk about Candace Owens.
6. Okay, so I've decided to loan him this money and he's agreed to it. So I download this app. It's called Revolut, and it's kind of like Venmo where you can send money internationally instantly. So I download it. It took like a day to like verify all my information, and I was able to send him the 6K. And the next day he flew into Dallas to come be with me. And so that trip was really fun. We really didn't do a whole lot. I remember we just like went to the state fair and we went to dinner like once, and the rest of the time we just hung out at home. And I remember it was hard for him because he was dealing with some really bad back pains. And I think it was just because he was flying a lot, and he said he injured his back when he was playing handball. So I remember I was giving him like back massages like almost every single day because it was really, really bad. And so this trip was very, very short. He was only there for a week, but I would say this was a very special trip for us because this was like the first time that he actually started making friends, like through me. And I started watching him start to make guy friends. And so this was when I got even more excited because I felt like we were really starting to, you know, build a life here in Dallas together. So he leaves, obviously, again, I'm depressed again. And at this point, I know he's definitely planning on coming to Dallas for Thanksgiving to meet my parents. But I didn't know when he was planning on flying back. And so basically he's gone. And I feel like the second he leaves, like everything just kind of like starts to like fall apart for him. And so for starters, his back pain was getting like much, much worse. He was complaining about it every single day. Like he would text me in the middle of the night being like, it hurts so bad. Like, and I felt terrible because I wanted to help him, but there was nothing I could do because I'm living 5,000 miles away. On top of that, his uncle, who was really sick with cancer, had passed away. And he told me the funeral was going to be the next week. And I remember telling him, I will fly to Denmark if I need to, if you want me to be there for you. And he's like, no, it's fine. Like I can handle it. It's okay. Oh. And so basically that happened. And then I remember I went to Charlotte to go visit one of my girlfriends who had just had a baby. One of my girlfriends that I've been friends with for years and years since college. And so I'm in Charlotte with my friend and I get a text from him. He's saying, hey, my dad's in the hospital. And I was like, oh my gosh, what happened? And he was like, we still don't understand what happened, but the doctors are running tests. And so later on that day, he told me that he had blood poisoning and he had like his infection numbers were like going crazy. And I remember telling him, well, if you're not able to come to Dallas in November, obviously I'll understand, especially like if your dad's in the hospital, like I understand completely. Again, I told him, I'll be there for you if you want me to. He's like, it's okay. Over the course of the next couple days, his dad started to show some more improvement. So he ended up deciding to come to visit me in Dallas. Now we're in November of 2022. So he comes back to Dallas, and basically this was a very exciting trip because number one, I used to be on the board of an organization called UIU. It's a nonprofit that celebrates Igbo Nigerian culture, and my culture is so important to me. And so I was the event coordinator for the Dallas chapter, and I was so proud of this. Like we had just won chapter of the year out of all the chapters in the nation. It was just such a huge accomplishment
and
for me and my whole board. And I remember my cousin, who I told you guys I'm really close with, he was the president. And so we had a huge gala that we planned that year, and we had people flying in from all over the country to come. Aww. And obviously it took a lot of planning, and I was working really hard to make sure it was executed perfectly. I remember the day of the gala comes, and he is helping me set up, do everything that entire day. And this was the first time that I fully like integrated him with a bunch of Nigerians. And I was really curious to see how he was going to react to being with all these people, because obviously Nigerians are so much fun, but some people might think we're a little bit too much. Forget them. But I wanted to make sure that he wasn't one of those people. So we have the gala. He helps me set up all day. And I'm just kind of watching him at the gala, just talking to people. And he's getting along with everyone. He's dancing to the Afro beats. And I just feel like, okay, he really takes my culture seriously. Like he wants to make sure that I know that he's going to make sure this is a part of his life too. And I remember just being really happy about that. And so after the gala was done, it was a couple days and my parents came to visit me in Dallas for Thanksgiving. And so I remember he went to go stay at a hotel because my parents, obviously, very Nigerian, very traditional. We wanted to be respectful. So he went and stayed at a hotel. My parents came to visit, and he was here when my parents got in town. And I'm telling you, my parents fell in love with him immediately. And I think watching him with my dad, it just warmed my heart because they just instantly connected.
They're probably the same person.
My dad, like everyone else, was very fascinated by him. And I remember the following day we went to African market with my parents. It was just me, my ex, and my parents. And he's talking to my parents about the Olympics, and they're asking him all these questions. And he was like, yeah, like the gold medal I gave to my mom, she has it. And then the bronze medal, I actually donated it to charity. And I'm just like, this guy is just so freaking amazing.
He donated his bronze medal to charity.
We had an amazing Thanksgiving. Wow. It was his first Thanksgiving in the state. And my grandmother had recently just passed away. And this is my dad's mom. It was really, really sad. And he was talking to us about the plans for the burial. And so he said, we're going to do the burial in May. It's going to be in the village in Nigeria. And he looks at my dad and he says, I'll be there. And I remember looking at him like, I don't think you really understand what you're agreeing to. And he said, I don't care. I'm going to be there. I'm like, we're talking about the village in Nigeria. We're not just talking about like a big city where you can get a little bit of.
The thing is, it's so sad. She didn't realize that he was scoping her out, trying to see just how much money she had, just how deep the money went. He wanted to go back to that village to see if he was like the king of the village and if that dad owned the whole village.
Culture shock, where you like, or go back to your hotel. And no, we're talking about being in the village. And he said, I don't care. I'm going to be there. And so that was when I realized, like, this man really takes my culture seriously. He wants to be there for me. He wants to be there for my family. And that meant so much to me. And so at the end of the trip, I told him, I said,
did you pay for that trip?
This week has showed me that I know that I want to spend my life with you. And I'm just, thank you for being the man that you are. And he said, I want to spend my life with you. And I'm going to let you know, like, I already know that I want to marry you someday. Like, and I don't want you to ever doubt that. And so he asked me, he's like, I have a question. Like, do you have an idea of what ring you would want? And I was like, I mean, I have some ideas, but I have not thought about it really extensively. And so he said, what are your thoughts on us going ring shopping? And keep in mind, at this point, we've been dating for like 4 months, 3-4 months. And so I was like, okay, let's do it. So we found a jeweler. We went and we tried on some rings. I remember I'm trying on lab grown and natural. And I'm like looking at the price differences. And I'm like, I am not allowing you to buy me a natural stone because that number is just crazy. I'd rather us spend money investing, doing other things. And he said, well, let me look into it because I kind of do want to get you natural. And I was like, no, we're getting a lab grown. And I remember, like, if you've, gone ring shopping, price difference is like astronomical. And so I remember I picked out a ring that I really liked. And
lab grown.
And that was basically the end of like the rings for that moment. And so he goes back to Denmark, and the plan was for me to go on a trip with him for Christmas. As I mentioned previously, my parents were traveling for Christmas, and him and his older sister do not have a relationship. Like, they can't be in intimate settings together, so they alternate Christmases. Like, he had last Christmas, so this Christmas was her Christmas. So we already had plans.
Did you ask his sister, if that's really his sister, that might be his ex-girlfriend, he's such a liar, ask him why he does not have a relationship with his sister? What did he do to the family that the sister doesn't mess with him?
To spend Christmas together. And so originally we were talking about going to South Africa, like I mentioned before, and then we started looking at flights, and he was like, it's a long trip, I only want to fly business, and they were like $12,000 round trip. And he's like, well, maybe we can make it work. I was like, we are not spending that much on flights to South Africa. That's not happening. And so I started looking at other flights, and then we talked about maybe going to Brazil. And then he tells me, okay, make an itinerary and book at hotels and flights and everything and send it to me, and I'll book it.
Okay, I don't understand this girl. You haven't even been with him for 4 months. He said, let's fly first class. No, we're going coach. For those of you who don't understand the difference between a lab grown and a real diamond, a lab grown is a man-made diamond. They are 1/8 of the price of a diamond. Now, again, in a relationship, if you want a lab grown diamond and if you're happy with it and that's what your man can afford, they're not, well, compared to a real diamond, they're cheap, but like a diamond that usually looks like it's $3 million, you can get a lab grown one for like 5,000. You see what I'm saying? Like, they're not cheap, but the fact that a man is taking you to look at real diamonds and you say, no, I'm only worth a lab grown diamond. Girl, who taught you to shrink yourself? Who taught you that you weren't worth anything? If somebody offers a first, and mind you, she thinks this man is rich. So it's not like this guy's working at McDonald's and y'all split in rent and you're like, no, don't empty your savings account. He's leading you to believe he has the money. Mind you, you've paid for trips. You've loaned him money. Every single time he needed money or something, you've paid for it willingly. He's now like, oh, let me fly you first class. And he probably had a burner credit card, real talk. He's like, yeah, let me fly. No, I don't deserve first class. Let's sit and coach to Brazil. Are you out of your mind? Let's look at diamonds. You like this ring? No, I only deserve a fake diamond. What? Girl.
Okay, we're going to go to Brazil. I said, okay, sounds good. So I wake up one day, I said, hey, did you book the travel? And he was like, no, I haven't, but there's something I need to talk to you about. I go, what's up? He goes, so I talked to a doctor because my back has gotten really, really bad. And it turns out I have 2 herniated discs and I'm going to need to get surgery. And I said, okay, like, that's fine. And he said, I'm going to have to get surgery December 21st. And I said, oh, wow. Okay, well, that's fine. We don't need to go on a trip. I'll just come to Denmark and I'll help you recover and everything. And he said, actually, no, I don't want you to come to Denmark. I want you to be there, but I don't want that to be the first time you meet my parents, and they definitely want to be there. And at this point, I'm like, what do you mean? I'm your girlfriend and we're talking about a future. Why would I not be there when you're getting a major surgery?
Survival.
And I will continue on in part 7.
Okay, you guys, listen, I have to go film and like do something that actually makes money, because this Danish deception is a passion project because y'all don't care. But oh my God, he literally bailed on her. He bailed on her while for the holidays. If that ain't the international, he bailed on her for the holidays. And then when she was like, yeah, okay, you know what? Let's just watch a little bit more. Just a little bit more. And then I'm going to go get to work. Just a little more, okay? Just a little more. Just a little. Just a little.
Okay,
then I'm getting to work, I swear.
Part 7. So he tells me that he needs to get a back surgery and he does not want me to come to Denmark because he wants me to meet his parents with him there, because there's a serious language barrier and he wants to make sure that I can communicate with them through him. And he's like, I don't want you to be using Google Translate to talk to them the first time you meet them. And yeah, and at first I was...
So she has a little bit of her survival instinct. Wait, I'm supposed to be your girlfriend. What do you mean you're bailing out on me for Christmas, but you don't want me to come to be with you while you're saying your back is hurt last minute, 2 herniated discs? Again, she's not asking any questions, but then you're like, no, I don't want this to be the time you meet my mom and dad. Ugh.
Really upset because I felt like he wasn't treating me like I was his family. And I remember having a conversation with my mom about it because I was really frustrated. And she asked me, she said, do you think his parents know about you? And I remember I got really defensive because I told her, in what world would his parents not know about me? And I told him, you know, I really want to be there. I was still kind of like pushing on him for like the full day. And I remember like that was like one of our first like little fights. At this point, we had not fight at all. Like we have not had a single fight in the last 4 months because it's December of 2022. And so I told him, I said, listen, I really want to be there for you. And he was like, honestly, I don't want to like fight about this anymore. Like, let's just put this to rest. And I remember being frustrated because I also didn't have plans for Christmas because my family was going to be traveling. And I had planned to spend Christmas with him. So I remember I reached out to my best friend, Natalie. I was talking to her about the situation. She said, why don't you fly to New York, spend a couple days with me, and we'll go spend Christmas in Boston with my family.
Pause. These comments are good, right? April Love, Miss Booty was like, lol. April Love said, or she didn't ask any right questions. Marcette Designs Plus said, he made his quota. No need to stay with her any longer. Macy's Girl 21 said, this is a good point. How is his family supposed to be royalty and they don't speak English? All royalty all over the world speaks English. That's part of their education. Listen, this is Marie Goddess said, yes, he's a con artist, but I hope she does the work to improve her self-esteem, self-worth. She's trying. She's very in need of love. I know. I almost wish I could introduce her to a nice guy. I see. If I was a friend, I would have had somebody to enter. But then again, I don't know. Blink Cat said most Danish people learn English in school and are fluent, and they're fluent. Hey, what's up, B? How you doing? What's up? Everybody say hi to B. Exit said, in a racist world, girl, listen. Exactly. Yes. And Danish people do speak good English, right? Most Norwegian countries do. Is that Nordics? Whatever. The pale skin countries, you know, Norway, Greenland, Faroe Island, all those. Yeah, I think she really wanted to work out and was blinded. Exactly. Baps Bunny 21 said, I wonder if his ex was black and if she was his first black girlfriend and she felt special. That man don't give a damn about anything but green. He will date purple, pink, polka dot. black, white, yellow, black, Puerto Rican, and Haitian. That man don't care. He will date green. Listen, somebody said, you don't want to be in the middle of her mess. She needs some therapy. That's what I was saying. Nick, that's what I was saying. When I was like, if she was my friend, I would have introduced her. Then I thought about it and I was like, no, you got a lot of healing to do. Because sometimes when your mind's messed up and you're in a toxic place, you ever hear like right person, wrong time? Even if you get involved with someone that really has a heart of gold, you're going to mess it up. You're going to mess it up. You have to be ready to be loved. You really honestly do. But the way you get ready is like finding that self-love. You know what I'm saying? Oh, thank you. Sakwa? Sakwa? S Aqua said Scandinavian. Thank you. Can't Scandinavian. Oh, and Danielle Texas said, "Oh my God, I can't pull weight. It's a train wreck. Girlfriend missed all the red flags, but we all love and learn. She's just yeah, that's what it is. It's a very expensive experience."
Family. And I said, okay, like we can do that. And so I brought up the option to my ex. He said, I think that's a great idea. I obviously don't want you to spend Christmas by yourself. And so I said, okay, that works. And I'm obviously extremely sad because at this point I hadn't seen him in weeks. And now I don't know when I'm going to see him again because he's getting this surgery on December 21st. So I made plans, booked my flight to New York. And
first of all, she's incredibly sheltered. And I wish that's probably why he kept her out of Denmark, because he didn't want her to make friends with any Denmark women. In Europe, don't shit happen December 21st. I'm surprised they don't even close the hospitals. There is nowhere in Europe, if you've ever spent time in Europe, that you are getting surgery on December 21st. Unlike America, they literally will let you off Christmas Eve and you got to be back in on Christmas Day. Europe around December, somewhere between the 10th and 15th, that they shut down. They shut down. And depending on where you are in Europe, nothing really starts up again until like January 6th, maybe 4th, depending on where the Monday falls. You see what I'm saying? Nowhere in Europe are you getting scheduled, but not emergency, because the ERs are open, barely. Nowhere are you getting scheduled back surgery on December 21st. Europe is not America. And the fact that he told her that lazy lie, I feel like smacking him. See, you know what his problem is? She's Nigerian, but, and again, my Nigerian sisters, I don't know. Tell me if I'm wrong. But you need to date someone whose family is going to lay hands and feet on you for playing in their face. Now, hear me out. I'm not saying violence is the answer, but to quote Drea from Mob Wives, sometimes it is. This man, I never condone violence, but this man needs the next girl that plays in his face, her family needs to lay a generational butt whooping. Hands and feet. Granny needs to get a kick in. So he knows to stop playing in women's faces. But let's keep going.
A couple days before I leave, he told me, maybe what we can do is you can come to Denmark maybe a couple days after my back surgery, because the doctors say that I need to be up walking a couple days afterwards. And I think it's just my
Blink Cat, I will check out the Windsors.
Mom that's going to come. So what we can do is you can come meet my mom and we can go see like the Christmas lights. And at that point, I'll be able to translate and everything. And so I said, that's fine. So I was like, I'll fly to New York, go to Boston, spend Christmas with my friend Natalie. And then I'll also have like an extra bag packed for like things to wear in Copenhagen, and just make sure I'm prepared to figure out what the plan is whenever he tells me. And so I think we had decided that it was December like 26th or 27th that I was going to go to Copenhagen and then spend like a week there.
What happened to his surgery?
So
you have back surgery on the 21st.
Have a great couple days with my friend Natalie. And then on like the second day I'm in New York, I get a message from him. And he said, oh my goodness, my dad's back in the hospital. And I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm so sorry to hear that. He's like, his infection numbers are bad again, his blood poisoning again. And he ended up getting diagnosed.
Blood poisoning. So she's trying to convince, he told her that his dad had sepsis. I think that's blood poisoning. He had it and he got magically cured. Mind you, blood poisoning is very, very hard to cure. And right when she was supposed to come out and meet them, he has blood poisoning again.
With leukemia. And I just, I wanted to be there for him. And I said, like, do you want me to come? Like, I want to be there for you. Like, I don't want you to feel like you have to navigate through these things without having like your partner there to support you. And he said, right now, I just need to like focus on my.
See, here's the thing also. She was creeping around him. The fact that you're pledging love to him, you're loaning him money, you're doing all that, and you don't feel comfortable to be like, cut the shit. Am I coming to see your family or not? What's up? Do you have another girlfriend there? Like, what is going on? Why can I not come? You can come. Why are you acting like you don't want me to come? No, you can come. All right, get my ticket. I'm coming. I don't know what you have going over in Denmark, but that shit's about to get shut down. Literally, in my mind, I would be like, this shit's about to get shut down, and then I'm still going to dump him. After I shut everything down, I'm still dumping you. Why didn't you were pledging love, but you don't feel comfortable enough with someone, and you don't have to, you could say it nicely. I'm coming. No, you don't have to. No, I do. I'm 100% going to be there. 100%. Literally. Anyway, let's keep going.
Family, and I'm grateful for you to be here, but I also don't want you to meet my dad for the first time in a hospital bed. And I'm obviously frustrated because I really want to be there for him, but I also don't want to be too pushy because I'm like, this is your family. Your dad's in the hospital. I don't want to put too much on him.
She's better than me.
And so we made the decision that I was just going to be kind of like,
I would have popped up. You took me to a store. We're talking marriage. And this was, I think, did she know? Or subconsciously, did she know and she didn't want to know? Or did she know and she just thought she would just play the fool, marry, and then get into that royal money? Because I would have just popped up. You are talking about, we are getting married. You love me. I love you. Like, I've loaned you money. Like, please. Like, we go together real bad. I would have popped up. I'd have been like, hey, what are you doing? Oh, I'm just at the hospital. Really? What hospital? Blah, blah, blah. Our Lady of the Wounded Scammer. Oh, okay. And I would have popped up again and called him, be like, hey, I'm downstairs. I would have just popped up on him. Why not? We get married. Why can't I pop up on you?
On standby, which was fine because I was with my best friend, Natalie.
That's right.
I love her so much. And so I was having, honestly, a wonderful time with her and her family. And so we had left New York, went to Boston. Obviously, I'm still in constant communication with him, trying to figure out what's happening. And he sends me a message. I think it's on December 23rd. He sends me a message and he says, I'm so angry. I just got into a fight with my sister. And maybe like 5 minutes later, he gives me a call and I'm like, what happened? He said, we're sitting in the hospital room and my dad is obviously laying in the bed and my older sister looks to me and says, so where are you spending Christmas? And I said, not with you, bitch. And it turned into a huge, they start screaming at each other in the hospital. He storms out. He feels so disrespected.
This is the man that just had back surgery, stormed out, was sitting and then stormed out. Who was the one that said, Macy's girl said, you don't walk for a few after major back surgery. What the hell? My cousin had spinal surgery and it took her weeks before she could leave the hospital.
His mom's upset. His little sister's upset because they're already spending some of their holidays in the hospital. And like now, like they have all this tension in the family. And so I remember just being like so confused as to like why his sister is like this awful person. Like, why is she treating you like this, especially at a time when your dad is not doing okay? And so he calls me. He's like, I'm just so upset. Like, I want to get away. And I said, well, let me know what you need from me. Like, I'm literally a plane right away. And he said, well, I obviously, like, now that I'm like, don't want to be around my family, I would love to see you. And I said, okay, well, I can book a flight to Copenhagen and come stay with you. And he said, I don't know. I just kind of feel like I just need to get out of Denmark. And at that point, he was obviously in his hometown in Aalborg, which is 4 hours north of Copenhagen. And so he took a train back to Copenhagen. He's spending Christmas completely by himself, so sad. And we're still trying to iron out what the plans are. And he, again, tells me, I want to leave Denmark. And I was like, are you sure? because at this point, like I knew that I wouldn't say we were having like financial issues, but I knew like obviously there was like a little bit of tension with like all of his expenses that were adding up. And so I was like, it might be easier for me to just fly there and I can just stay with you. And he's like, I just really want to get away. And I said, okay, where do you want to go? He said, have you been to Paris before? And I said, no, I actually have not been to Paris. And he's like, well, let's do Paris. And I said, okay, I'm absolutely down to do Paris. And so I look at flights. I book a flight from Boston to Paris for layover in Iceland, and I leave on the 26th, and I get to Paris on the 27th, and I see him. He meets me at the airport. We arranged our flights to make sure we landed around the same time. And something I need to add is before I had gone to Paris, he had told me that he had made a transfer from his business account to his personal account. And obviously in the States, when you make a transfer like that, it's just like a click of a button. Like I have a business account, it's a click of a button. But he told me that in Denmark, when you make a transfer from your business account to your personal account, it actually has to go through the IRS. They take out the taxes and then they deposit the money into your personal account. And
I'm sliding down the walls right now. No, that's not what happens. That's not what happens. When you make a transfer, first of all, money transfers go through quick as hell in Europe. And when you make the transfer, what happens is they withhold taxes, like it's like sales tax. It's taken out when the money hits, but it doesn't slow the money. Like,
and I'm over here thinking like that's so crazy, but I also know like Denmark is a foreign country that I don't know anything about. I didn't question it for a second.
But you didn't question it for a second, but you Googled the price of a hotel room. Priorities, Onika. Priorities.
I'm just going to ask my mom to give me a quick little loan so I can obviously cover everything with Paris and whatnot. And I said, okay, just let me know what she says. And then he basically came back to me and said, she said that she will only give me the money if I spend a couple more days with the family. I said, well, you should do that. Like, I don't want you to feel like I'm trying to take you away from your family by any means. And he said, I don't even want.
I'm curious. She didn't get the ick at the fact that a grown man, looks like double her age, told her that my mom said I can go visit you. She'll give me money to go visit you if I stay a few more days. That didn't give you the ick. And the fact that this man doesn't have any friends in his life, men friends, like this is icky.
To be around them right now, it's just like not good for my mental health. And then I said, okay, well, what do you need from me? I said, I can cover like the flights and the hotels. It's not that big of a deal. And at that point, we had been on 2 trips together, or no, we'd only been on 1 trip together to the south of France. And then Paris was going to be our 2nd trip. The rest of the times, he had now visited me in Dallas 3 times. And so I told him, I said, I can pay for the flights and the hotels. It's not that big of a deal. He said, are you sure? I said, yeah, of course. He's like, I just don't know what I would do without you. Like, I just feel like I keep hitting these roadblocks and you are there to pick up the pieces every single time. And I'm so grateful for that. And I said, I'll always be there to support you. So now we can go back to landing in Paris. We meet at the airport and he told me, he's like, letting you know, I'm not in the best mood. I've been just like really upset. And I said, I am here to make you happy.
My stomach hurts. You flew a mofo out. And he had the nerve when he got off the plane to be like, I'm really not in a good mood right now. Well, I'm just here to make you happy. Yo, she has a savior fantasy about them. Okay.
So we land in Paris. We see each other. We're so happy. And we had the most spectacular trip in Paris. Like, we were just exploring. It was my first time there. And it was obviously I paid for a lot of that trip and he paid for a little bit of the trip too. So we both kind of paid. And keep in mind, he still owes me $6,000 at this point. I am not concerned about the money. I don't know why I should have been concerned. I should have been noticing these red flags like, bro, like, where's my money? But again, this is someone that I am planning on marrying, and money at this point, like, money comes and goes, and I wasn't focused on that. I was just focused on us. So we finish our trip in Paris, say our goodbyes, and we start just, getting depressed as we always do when we say goodbye. And I board my flight to Dallas, and he asked me, "What are your thoughts on us meeting with an immigration attorney just to get an idea of what the process entails?" And I said, "Absolutely, I would love to do that." Obviously, I had Googled and looked into a few things, but
Oh, so
nothing
you do know
concrete.
how to Google.
At the time, one of my
Oh,
best friends was working
okay.
part-time for immigration attorneys. So I reached out to her. I said, "Hey, can I get her contact information?" And she said, "Yeah,
Yo.
of course." She gives me her.
And he literally, he's like, let me get this green card. Because if the girls in America are as dumb as this one, baby, about to be the king of America. He probably had dreams of a bunch of dummies funding his whole life.
Contact information. And I call her. We set up a meeting. And obviously, still the time difference. He had a work trip in Norway that he was at. And at this point, also, little side note, we had started sharing our locations while we were in Paris. So I had his location at this point, see that he was in Norway. And he also FaceTimed me from the hotel room. So he was in Norway, 100%. And we had a call with the lawyer, and we were discussing the process. And she tells us it's going to take 18 months for you guys to get all of this process after the time you get married. And I was like, 18 months? She's like, everything is super backed up because of COVID. I always want to let my clients know this stuff so that they are fully prepared. And I just felt like that sounded like such a long time. But we finished the conversation with the lawyer, and I then call my ex, and we're talking, debriefing on everything. And there's two different types of ways to get permanent residency in the United States. There's consular processing, and then there's another way where you basically apply for the visa and you're living in the States full time while you're processing the visa. So obviously, because he was still working a lot and traveling a lot for work, and because of his dad's health, we decided we would do consular processing because why not? But then we start having the discussions on, okay, but the clock starts after we get married. And that's when he says, "Well, I would marry you tomorrow." And I was like, "Well, I would marry you tomorrow." And he was like, "Wait, really?" And now the time has come for me to drop the first of many bombs on you guys. This man is actually not my ex-fiance. He is my ex-husband. So I will end right now, and we will pick back up in part 8.
What a roller coaster. Okay, now that I have completely destroyed myself for 2 hours watching TV with you guys. You guys, we're gonna have another watch party tomorrow, but I for real have to get to work. I'm gonna post a few more videos. Please don't let them flop. Please just let play in the background so I can get some numbers up. But yeah, who said that? Jasmine said, "Oh, hell to the nah." Listen, yo, who said North, not the 1 or 2 said who paid for the application process? Who you think? Big Mama. Exactly. Culture said she is upsetting me. Sharing locations is a big red flag. I know, it's really weird. Yep. Nickel Salon said, I bet she paid for that consultation. I know she did. Oh my God. She is gorgeous, but she is desperate to be with this guy. Listen, how does she never Google anything? She's going to be financially responsible for him if they went through immigration process. Yeah, exactly, Jasmine. She pissed me off too. Listen, you guys, let me get out of here and try to post a few more videos. It has been fun watching 2 hours of TV with you guys. I'm going to come back on tomorrow. I'll put a thumbnail up earlier so everybody knows what the time it is. Tell a friend, tell a kin. Yeah. Okay. So I'll see y'all tomorrow for my guilty pleasure. We're gonna get through episodes 10 to let's see if we get through episodes 10 to 16. I promise not to talk as much. I'm lying. But let's see if we can get through episodes 10 through 16. Anyway, you guys, let me know what you no. Who said that? Jennifer said this has to be fake. The story is just so unbelievable. It's not fake. It's not fake, Jennifer. It's not. Woo! What's up, Dread Mega? I'm about to get to work. Listen, I'll talk to you guys later. I'll see y'all tomorrow for the next installment. This is better than reality TV because I'm invested now. It started slow, but I'm 100